So there's this one piece of Russian military tech that is causing a massive geopolitical headache for the United States. It's forcing allies to make some really tough choices, and it all revolves around a system called the S-400. In this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what this thing is, how it works, and why it's become one of the most controversial weapons on the entire planet. Okay, let's just dive right into the heart of the matter. The United States has made its position crystal clear. If you buy this system from Russia, you're going to face some serious economic sanctions. And yet key countries, some of them even U.S. allies, are lining up to get their hands on it. So what on earth makes this one weapon system so special that they're willing to risk that kind of political and economic blowback? To really get it, we have to look at the giant ripples this weapon is causing. See, it's not just a piece of hardware, it's a political statement. It's testing alliances, and honestly, it's challenging the global power structure as we know it. And the system at the very center of this storm is Russia's S-400, which they call the Triumph. And let's be super clear here, this is not just some missile launcher. No way. It's a complete mobile fortress. It's designed to create a massive protective bubble over a huge area, capable of defending against pretty much everything from tiny drones to giant strategic bombers. So the US is trying to stop its spread using a pretty powerful legal stick, a law called SATSA. Now, what that basically says is, if you buy significant Russian military gear, you're going to face painful American sanctions. But that threat hasn't stopped China or India or even a NATO ally like Turkey. They've all looked at the situation and decided, you know what? The S-400 is a risk worth taking. So that brings us right back to our big question. What is it about the S-400's actual guts, its design, that makes it so darn desirable? Let's pop the hood and break down the hardware to see what makes this thing tick. The easiest way to think of a complete S-400 battery is that it has 4 interconnected parts that work together. First, you've got the eyes, a super powerful network of radars scanning the sky. Then you have the brain. That's a mobile command post that makes sense of all the data pouring in. Then you have the launchers, which are really the muscle of the operation. And finally, the missiles themselves, which are what give the system its unique, layered defense. Okay, let's start with the eyes, because this is where the S-400's magic really begins. The main surveillance radar, nicknamed Big Bird, is an absolute monster. It can spot targets up to 600 kilometers away. Now, once it finds something, a more focused engagement radar called Gravestone locks on to guide the missile. This two-step process means it can scan a massive area while precisely targeting threats, and you can even upgrade it to hunt for those really tricky low-flying targets. Now this is the system's real secret sauce: flexibility. Unlike a lot of systems that are built for just one job, the S-400 launchers can fire a whole menu of different missiles, each one designed for a different range. And that creates this multi-layered defensive bubble, able to take on a nearby drone 1 minute and then a strategic bomber hundreds of kilometers away the next. And that versatility is just incredible. I mean, we're talking about everything from a 40-kilometer missile for tactical threats right on the battlefield, all the way up to a massive 400-kilometer missile designed to take out high-value assets like AWACS planes. That huge range is what gives the S-400 such an enormous defensive footprint. All right, so we've got the components. Now let's put them all together and see how the system actually works in what the military calls the kill chain. That's the whole process from first spotting a threat to taking it down for good. And you've got to understand, this whole dance happens incredibly fast. Big Bird gets a sniff of a potential threat and instantly feeds that data to the command vehicle. In there, operators decide if it's hostile. If they give the green light, the launcher fires the perfect missile for that specific target. And from launch to impact, that engagement radar is feeding the missile constant updates, guiding it all the way home. Just to give you a sense of its brainpower, a single S-400 system can track up to 300 different targets at the same time. This is absolutely crucial for dealing with a complex, modern air attack that might involve swarms of drones, missiles, and multiple aircraft all at once. But this is the number that really defines its strategic impact: 400 kilometers. I mean, just stop and think about that for a second. A system placed well inside a country's own borders can threaten aircraft deep inside a neighboring country's airspace. It effectively creates a massive no-fly zone that projects power far, far beyond its actual location. And that brings us to the absolute heart of all this geopolitical friction. Why is the U.S. so determined to stop the S-400 from spreading? Well, it's because it directly threatens one of America's biggest, most expensive military advantages. The core of the problem is pretty simple. The S-400 is believed to be capable of detecting, tracking, and shooting down stealth aircraft. In other words, it's designed to find the very planes that are built not to be found. And that is a direct threat to a fundamental pillar of American military strategy. So what we're really looking at here is a direct technological showdown. For decades, the U.S. has invested trillions in stealth technology for jets like the F-22 and F-35, banking on their invisibility to win a fight. The S-400 is Russia's direct answer to that, a system built specifically to negate that advantage, to make the invisible visible again. Now, a question I hear a lot is, how does this compare to other famous air defense systems we hear about, like Israel's Iron Dome? And it's a great question, because the answer really highlights just how different and how much more strategic the S-400 really is. Honestly, they're completely different tools for totally different jobs. The Iron Dome is a tactical marvel, right? It's built to swat down small, short-range rockets and protect a specific area. The S-400, on the other hand, is a strategic giant. It's designed to take down entire fleets of advanced aircraft and missiles across a vast region. One is like a shield for a city, the other is a shield for an entire country. So when a system this powerful starts popping up all over the place, the consequences go way beyond the battlefield. It has the potential to redraw strategic maps and completely alter the balance of power in entire regions. You know, a system like this didn't just appear out of thin air. It's the result of decades of slow, methodical evolution. It started with the very successful S-300 system way back in the Soviet era. And with each new generation, they added more range, better radars, and more flexibility, all culminating in the S-400 that we see today. So why does all this matter? Well, it's simple. Wherever an S-400 is deployed, it creates a bubble of contested airspace. It fundamentally challenges the air superiority that countries like the US have long taken for granted. It just makes it far, far riskier to fly anything, whether it's a fighter jet or a drone, in that region. But the system is not invincible. Nothing is. It has weaknesses. And the biggest one is just basic physics, the curvature of the Earth. Its powerful radars are amazing, but they can't see over the horizon. This means a very low-flying target, like a cruise missile that's hugging the terrain, might not get detected until it's much, much closer, maybe even just 40 kilometers away. And that drastically reduces the system's reaction time. All of this brings us to a final and really critical question. For decades, air power has been defined by stealth technology. The S-400 represents a profound challenge to that entire idea. So, as this system continues to spread around the globe, it forces us all to ask, is the era of unchallenged American air dominance, an era built on the very promise of invisibility, actually coming to an end?